Alrighty, welcome on, ladies. Today we're just going to talk about losing yourself in a relationship, losing yourself to be loved by your affair partner. And often we don't even know this is happening. What happens in an affair dynamic is you get this inconsistent behavior, you get these breadcrumbs, you get acts of love, and then you get withdrawal, you get commitment, and then you get confusion. And so there's this constant hot and cold, on off. And while we are so occupied in that dance of inconsistency, we don't actually realize how much we're losing ourselves in this relationship. And so today I'm just going to go through a few signs that you are losing yourself in this affair relationship with your affair partner in order to earn his love, or to consistently keep or to continue to keep the spark alive. Not even the spark, just to keep the connection. We lose parts of ourselves to keep the stability in the connection because of how much instability there is. Again, if you're new to this channel, this is a channel to support women that are in relationships with married men, help you get out of the pain and confusion of living a double life. There's so much on there. We're not going to go into that today, but this channel is absolutely here to support you on that journey. So the first one I want to quickly just go into is social withdrawal. And that is where picture your life before you got into this affair, and just picture who you were, what activities you did, how you spent your time, and notice now how you spend your time. Did you go to the gym a lot and now you're just not as motivated to go to the gym? Did you often go for walks with friends and now you're just not feeling that connected with your friends anymore? If you have a social withdrawal, it's often because you're going through so much that you don't have that capacity to show up in other environments. But your community is so important. And so if you notice that you're losing that sense of community that you had prior to your affair partner, then you're losing your sense of self in this relationship with this affair partner that you have. The next one is your self-esteem. Now, I feel like an affair relationship, your self-esteem just does a complete nosedive, where you could have been someone that was quite a driven, and you are still like a driven person, someone with high esteem, someone that's quite well regarded in your workplace and everything like that. And you might notice yourself completely shaming, judging, blaming yourself, just negative self-talk. If you notice that, I would be curious as to how this affair relationship is impacting you, the dynamic itself, but also the person that you're in relationship with. If you're noticing an unhealthy change in behavior in yourself, it's really important to start reflecting on how much this is impacting you. We tend to focus so much on the rosy parts of the relationship with your affair partner. In affair relationships, there's such roller coaster highs and lows, and we consistently hold on to the fantasy of the highs out of fear of the loss of the relationship. And so we don't actually realize how much we are losing a part of ourselves, and our mental health massively declining, self-esteem massively declining, whilst pursuing or continuing to remain in this affair relationship. So that's another massive sign. The next one is walking on eggshells around him. Your relationship with your most intimate partner needs to feel safe in order for true emotional intimacy to evolve. And if you're walking on eggshells, then there is a complete lack of emotional safety where you have the freedom to be you and all your goofiness and all parts of yourself, the messy, the clean, the fun, the crazy, all of that. If all parts of yourself are not welcome in this relationship and you're treading on eggshells and have a lot of fear, then that's really unhealthy. And I would just invite you to just look into how much of myself is actually tiptoeing around certain actions in order to protect the relationship that we do have. Because if I don't tiptoe, I might lose it. And I think a great example is coming up for me right now. And that is this story that is so common of because he has a wife, feeling like you come second and that you can't actually speak your needs in relationship, and that you want to come first in a relationship, and really giving him what he needs, because ultimately you shouldn't be intruding in that relationship anyway. So you hold back on what you really need in relationship because you're not his wife, you're not his primary partner. And that is you neglecting your needs and standards in a relationship because of a story that, well, I am coming second. It's essentially validating that you aren't worthy of something more and that you are coming second in a relationship. And my question to you is, do you really want to come second? And you can communicate your need to be come first in a relationship and ask if that's something that he can commit to or is wanting to commit to. And that's not about forcing him to leave his primary partner. It's asking for clarity so that you can then make decisions on what's going to serve you best moving forward. And I think a lot of the time we think that, okay, well, I don't want to force him into leaving because then it wouldn't be on his own accord. And then it wouldn't be genuine and everything like that. And at the same time, you don't need to force him in order to ask what his intentions look like moving forward, on what kind of timeline, and does that fit into what works for you in your life. So that's another couple of pieces. The next one I just want to talk on is people pleasing. So how often do you suppress your truth on what you seek, on what you need out of this relationship in order to provide or show up for him? So he might be very stressed at work lately, or he might be saying how difficult his wife is at times, and that really causes a lot of stress in him. So you then don't want to be too difficult on him. And so you change who you are and what you need in a relationship in order to fit into his box. And this is very much where we start people pleasing and lose parts of ourselves in order to mold ourselves around what he is comfortable with. And we're often afraid of that discomfort of him being uncomfortable with the real version of ourselves. But if we change who we are, then ultimately we're going to continue to be out of alignment our whole life in this relationship until we stop choosing who we are. So you can either choose who you are now and see if he can actually rise to that, or not meet it. And if he can't meet it, then you're best to know now than to know 10 years down the track when ultimately he doesn't ever commit to you, or he does commit to you and he doesn't like the you that has needs in a relationship, the you that has preferences or has desires that are different to his. It's better to know early on. So it's scary when we're used to people pleasing, to be our own sense of self. It's scary because what happens if that true version of yourself is rejected by him? Then it can feel painful. But once we confront that fear, and really show up and stand in that true version of ourselves and release the shame behind it, then it is so fun, because ultimately you do attract people that align with that version of yourself and repel people that don't align and can't meet you with who you are or where you're at. And that's okay. When we have flavor, when we are a person, some people are going to love it and some people aren't going to align with it. And that's just the same with us. We are drawn to some people and not drawn to other people, and that's totally okay. So tune into where you're at in how this relationship, or what parts of yourself this relationship is bringing out. And do you notice yourself rising to your potential, or do you feel yourself collapsing? If you're collapsing, what things can you start to do to step into your alignment, no matter how scary it is, so that you can be the true version of yourself? So I hope that helps. Bye for now.